How do we make the world a better place? Social unrest, a strained education system, the games industry is on fire, AI is ravaging entire markets, and the climate is changing. These are big problems, and the solutions will involve collaboration and teamwork. But unfortunately, a specific cohort of kids were drastically affected by a global pandemic. I work with kids, and I've noticed that a large number of them lack communication skills and coping mechanisms. And I'm not the only one. 45% of parents of school-age children say the pandemic has had a negative impact on their child's social skills development. Half of them, 22%, report that the social difficulty is ongoing. I contract for a small indie game studio, and I want to make a game that can hone interpersonal skills. I have the perfect project to help heal the damage caused by the pandemic and empower people to work together. Years before COVID happened, I went to a camp for tag kids at the University of Oregon. Vikas Gambhir taught an epidemiology class to 6th graders. We studied a few key events throughout history and the formulation of germ theory. The final was a custom role-playing game where we played CDC staff investigating the source of an outbreak on the U of O campus. By sharing information and planning our days and planning our actions, we figured out that it was salmonella in the cafeteria. I don't remember a lot about that camp, but I'm able to tell you this now because it worked. We remember what we learn while we're enjoying ourselves with others. The generation of signals that enhance learning without an accompanying stress response allow the brain to explore possibilities and to learn from them. Thus, a major function of play may well be to provide practice for real life. The use of a skill or other mental capacity builds up that ability. When children engage in learning as play, they're actively building language and communication skills, talking with their peers, describing what they're doing, and learning to tell stories. In particular, dramatic play helps children work with other children, express their emotions verbally, and find ways to talk about new things and experiences. If kids need to learn how to collaborate and speak to each other, then they need a space to practice being social. To make it engaging, it needs objectives to complete. To encourage players to reach a focused and relaxed state of flow, it needs an amount of challenge that scales to the skill level of participants. I want to make a spaceship bridge simulator called ShieldsUp. If you've ever seen Star Trek, this will sound familiar. There is one large shared screen that everyone can see, and then players each have their own interface to control a portion of the greater ship. The captain decides where to go and tells Helm to navigate there. The helmsman needs to know what direction to point the ship, so Helm asks Science, "Hey, where is that thing?" Science scans around until they find the thing they're talking about, and then relays that information to Helm. Comms is able to contact other ships and stations. Engineering is able to overclock and run coolant to different ship systems to make them more effective. Everyone has little bits of information that other people need to do their jobs effectively or at all. The captain is responsible for facilitating success among subordinates, building rhythms and handshakes of information, keeping morale up, and completing the mission objective. Now, plenty of games do this, but they emphasize the nitty-gritty of space combat or ship mechanics. Now, the nitty-gritty is good, but the large majority of Star Trek is talking to aliens. I would like to implement additional features and systems that the genre hasn't seen before. Hailing other vessels and seeing expressive drawings of strange aliens will encourage communication. The comms officer needs to have a view of whoever is answering the call and dialogue options. If you're more into roleplay, you could become Admiralty and offer missions to ships. If you're more into the social aspect, you could sit around in an orbital station and coordinate flight groups in your area. If you only have a couple of minutes to play, you could launch from a single-seater fighter craft from a larger ship. If you want to help, but you don't want to directly interact with others, you could do a series of puzzles and games to research retrieved samples and manufacture supplies for ships. Placing the game in our solar system, players will work together to capture territory and share in an interplanetary struggle. There's a recent confluence of technology and tools that can empower a small team like us to make something with huge impact. And if we're trying to reach kids, it needs to be able to run on Chromebooks and on phones, because kids have Chromebooks and kids have phones. I have participated in fleet actions where 30 or more people split into multiple ships to patrol sectors of space. We had a full chain of command with admiralty, captains, and comms officers, all with custom keybinds and event server to send messages between ships. I know more people want to play like this. Maybe asking people to install a custom mod pack or make custom keybinds for event server is a tall order. Hardcore bridge simulator enthusiasts want a detailed chain of command with interesting mission objectives. In Oregon, somebody surveyed a bunch of employers and asked them, what do you look for in applicants? And the answer is a bunch of soft skills. Resiliency, being able to take constructive feedback, entrepreneurial mindset, being able to provide constructive criticism. And remember what I said about learning through play? This game is all about practicing communicating your needs, reaching out to others, and being helpful. There's a constant reinforcement for completing missions and taking on new roles. This is a way to practice, verify, and assess those soft skills. This game would directly help kids attain the skills they need to enter the workforce. When I played World of Warcraft, there was a guy on my server that shape changed into a cat and just sat on a mailbox and waved at people. Some people will do literally anything if they can do it with their friends. These players enjoy chance encounters in the wilderness or finding another adventuring party deep in the dungeon. Knowing that there are other people out there that want to help builds a connection to the world and to other players. It makes the world feel alive. I want to make a fun game to help make the world a better place, but I can't do it on my own. This video is an attempt to communicate this idea to you. By shifting this type of game into a different context, we can create a solution to a very real problem. While I like playing in dystopian settings, I want the real world to be more like Star Trek, where people speak freely and respectfully to one another, collaborate, and explore the stars. I want to boldly go where no one has gone before. I'm publishing my first video. I'm doing it. I'm releasing this thing out into the world, and it is terrifying. Thank you so much for getting to the end of the video. I really, really appreciate it. I hope that if anything in this video spoke to you and you have the means, just head on over to the Squishy Pixels Patreon. I'm pointing somewhere in space. Hopefully that will correlate to where the thing is. Thank you oh so much. If you are like me and you know that video games can make the world a better place, please don't hesitate to go over there and pitch in. There's a bunch of different tiers. We're going to be doing some merch drops and some other things for early backers. So thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. All right, here's all my outtakes. Bad company. Remember that marketing campaign?
Yeah. Yeah.